Greetings and salutations, everyone. I'm Mac. This is Let's Play of the Devil. Feels like we're getting off topic. What were we just... That's a good question. In the last episode, Serra lied. She lied about us being being David Ash's attorney, so that we can get involved in the case evolving around his suicide, which might not be a suicide, because of course it wouldn't be a suicide, it wouldn't be that easy. I'm pretty sure we saw a cut-in at the start that told us. But yes. So that's what we have to do. I was telling you that David Asher wanted her to be his criminal defense attorney. Imagine my surprise. An android's recording of a verbal expression of intent isn't exactly ironclad, Morgan. That's fair. And if we were going before an upper-level court, I would expect that to be open to all kinds of scrutiny. But we're talking about a preliminary hearing, a formality, as you call it. If he asks for representation, he deserves representation. Doesn't matter whether he's dead or alive. Am I missing something? What difference does it make? Not even an adjutant would be obtuse enough to sentence a dead man. No, there wouldn't be a sentence, but the adjutant would render a verdict. And verdicts have consequences, even for the deceased. Is that what this is about? What's she getting at? If the court agrees this was a suicide, that verdict will retroactively affect the evaluations of the individual's mental health. Like whether he was in his right mind or not? You know anything about estate tax law, detective? No? But I'm sure you'll be happy to educate me. More than happy. An individual found by a court to not be of sound mind can't very well give their consent to the lawyer drawing up their will. If his will is compromised, all of David's considerable assets would be suddenly thrown into legal limbo. In which case, the state would be legally obligated to come in and pick up the pieces. So this is just about his money. I'm almost disappointed in you, Morgan. Well, when you take into consideration all the factors, it's actually more complicated than that. For example... Never mind. No, Starling, you should speak your mind. All I mean to say is that while Dr. Asher did have significant holdings in art, real estate, and intellectual property, he also, of course, owned a great deal of stock in numerous corporations, principally Noble. If he was ruled to not be of sound mind, and his shares were to end up acquired by the government, Noble would suffer a serious blow to its commercial image and its standing in the financial community. All of which to say, there's a great deal at stake here, not least of which is the reputation of a man whom I was proud to call my friend. You're not buying this, are you? In case you haven't noticed, the city is working closely with Noble on all of this. And they're not going to let you bring them any unwanted attention. Starling did her part. They're watching, and they've stopped trying to hide it. From here on out, it's a gamble. Noble Electronics already has unwanted attention. Why are you raising your voice? If nothing changes, by the end of the day, the whole country's going to hear how David Asher committed suicide. By midnight, there will be questions about his competency. Concerns about why the brain inside every Noble ad was built by an apparently unstable mind. The shareholders will have nothing to do all Sunday but brood over that sad thought and all its disturbing implications. By the time the markets reopen on Monday, I would expect a great deal of volatility. That's so. I understand Noble's apprehension, of course, Emma. I just feel like right now, the fiscally conservative thing to do would be to not get in my way. So you've got your reasons, and Noble's got a lot to think about. Why should the district attorney's office devote valuable time to playing out this game of yours? Because they're certain they'll win. That goes without saying. The courts should have an opening at 6 p.m. I didn't have anything planned. Then it's a date. Detective, would you get our clearance set up? Yes, ma'am. Updates every hour, yeah. You're out on a limb, Morgan. Better not linger. Didn't your aunt say exactly the same thing about Viking funerals? Yeah. Clearance for all the relevant sites and police firewalls. You can interview and investigate with your authority as an officer of the court now. If you haven't already been doing that. Don't even think about being sloppy with discovery on this. Rockford might think you're funny, but I appreciate the warning, Detective Rise. It's nice knowing you care. I live to serve. And protect. Thanks for the assistance, darling. Yeah, no sweat. Are all cops like that, or are they more like that Detective London gentleman? Let's be optimistic. Most are like him. Most cops I've met are like London, yeah. Courteous and polite and friendly. Lazy. What a backhanded compliment. Oh. Right, well, I'll see you at the courthouse tonight. If you need anything in the meantime, don't be afraid to ask. Good luck. Both of you. What do we do now? Well, I have a few options. I have access to the crime scene now, probably the best place to start. I'd like to head over to the company building as well. To get me registered, among other things. Either David killed himself or he didn't. Third option. He faked his death. But no, let's not be like that in the first case. But if he did, it's almost certainly his asshole corporate overlords who are to blame. In which case, I'll want to take my sweet time raking them over the coals. Oh boy. This is her own subtle form of revenge. What are you doing? Nothing. What about Father? When can we see him? He'll be at the morgue by now. The medical examiner will speak to me now that I'm operating under the court's authority. But if I stop to flash paperwork at every nurse and security guard with nothing better to do than ask questions... I'll have to... What's that look for? You're Father's friend. Thank you again for reminding me. Aren't there people you'd like to speak with? Other friends who'd want to know? Bad news travels fast. I'm sure everyone in the country has heard about David by this point. But all that heartbreak shit did keep me pretty occupied these last few weeks. And I was never one to pry. If there was someone who could tell me more about David's personal life over the last few months, it'd be worth the effort of finding them. Do you have something in mind? Maybe someone he met recently? He spoke about becoming close with someone this year. A musician. Now that you mention it... There was a P.O. something that David might have mentioned when he talked back in... I will begin a search. I've completed my search. I found nothing. Thanks for the old college try. Is that really the best you can do? Father was a private man, in person and online. With just a few letters and the fact he was a musician, I'm afraid we don't have enough information to narrow down the results. A denoir? No, we have plenty of information. We just need the right person for the job. What kind of person is that? Time, date, expunged. Oh, that's ominous. Precinct 112. Detainment room 001. And who would you have even called? I don't know. But I still shouldn't have gotten my phone. I still should have gotten my phone call. Instead, I got you. Who are you again? My latest guardian? You foster parent? Want me to call you mommy? I'm not really the motherly type. Hey, we might actually get along. So I've got good news and bad news. I'm not your guardian, I'm your lawyer. You've been given a lawyer because you're being charged with a felony. Fascist pigs skipping school's a felony now. Hacking into a government database has been a felony for a very long time. That wasn't me. I have your keystrokes, your IP address, your login times, and the playlist you were listening to. That was for our homework assignment. Here's what I don't get. You got in, copied the data, could have gotten right out. State wouldn't even know they'd been robbed until they saw their password show up on the black market clearance 2 weeks later. But you didn't get out. You stayed and made changes to their database. You robbed the bank, got clean money, then dragged a can of spray paint behind you all the way home. Why? Look, I didn't steal anything. That wasn't already compromised. The only data I edited was my own. So if anything, they should be thanking me for correcting their mistakes. What, did they get your birthday wrong? My name. Name changes are only 2 pages of paperwork. You just need to fill out the form and get a signature from a parent or a guardian. So, what's the good news then? The good news was that I'm your lawyer, not your guardian. The hell, that doesn't count as good news, that's just a thing you said. Don't be so sure, a lawyer's a lot better than a guardian. How's that? Parents, guardians, foster whatevers, they're all supposed to take care of you because it's the right thing to do. A lawyer is someone who always does what's best for you no matter what, because that's how they get paid. So how good are you at your job? Hello, mon coeur. It's pronounced coeur. I know how it's pronounced. An archaic term for a dog, an abandoned mutt or stray. Did you mean to say coeur heart? And don't call me that! When I met Fran in that police station, I couldn't help but bet that I had landed the jackpot. A valuable asset with a skill complementary to my own personal and private pursuits. Someone who, after seeing the sweetheart probation deal I managed to land for them, would be more than happy to help me with whatever I need whenever I need it. Oh, it's so cold, Fran. Can't I even get a good morning? oh, Francis Snow. September 20th. Height 158, weight 51, blood type O positive. Occupation student. Hacker, but don't put that down obviously. Haptics, synth music, cinnamon toast, dislikes, teachers, politicians, adults, clocks, alarm clocks. I feel like most of those can all just be mulched under the title of adult. Values, rarity, originality, history, vibes, favorite subject, none. Worst subjects, literature, social studies, athletics. So, still decent at sciences. No such thing. Nothing good's happened until the afternoon when people are actually awake. What I got instead was a compulsive liar with a horrific sleep schedule and a crippling addiction to poor time management. What do you want, Red? I can't call you up just for fun. No! Not if you don't want to get blocked. I need you to find somebody for me. Can't do it. I've got homework. We both know the only time you'd ever do your own homework is during the class it's due. And I've got sports. You can't tell a basketball from a hockey stick. And I've got a bidding war to win. You're the only person on earth bidding on 70-year-old Kushi and Air Jordan vintage reps, Fran. I think you can take your eyes off the auction block. So sorry, but I'm busy, so I was hoping we could skip straight to the carrot portion of the routine, but if you insist on doing things from the top, I had an interesting conversation with your parole officer yesterday. Yeah? I've been really into self-prefixes lately. What? Self-motivation, self-actualization, self-help. Oh, and he thinks you could really benefit from it. You're lying. He's got all the workbooks ready. Oh, what an expression. Clearly your Saturdays are stacked, so make sure your Sundays are full of... Fine, I get it. I need you to find a local musician. Musician? Knowing you, this will be Electro Swing or something all other awful. Last name Powell or Parker. And that's all you got? He'll be in David Asher's circles. Wait, Asher, you're working that? That should be more than enough for a clever kid like yourself to go on. Don't go expecting any miracles. I need this soon, within the hour ideally. Within the... You know I have other clients, don't you? Other clients who actually pay you on time? A musician. Find him. Okay. Even talking over the phone, you're very animated, Adonnoir. What do you mean? Just that you're very expressive when you talk to people. Of course I'm expressive. If I wasn't, how would anyone know what I'm thinking? I see. I'll keep that in mind as we... Wait, you really expect to tag along? Of course, Father was... Yeah, I know you want to. But why should I let you? Because I am capable and helpful. I mean it, I can take notes for you. I always appreciate the puffy Maya face. And move heavy objects. And I'll learn to do more. How? I will subject every individual we encounter to a basic survey to procure biographical information on them while I gain experience in questioning. Subjecting them to torture. I can help, Adonnoir. How fast can you fill out forms? Fast. Congratulations, you're halfway to being a paralegal. Serra, date of birth August 29th, height 160 centimeters, weight 199.99 kilograms. Blood type UAD. Unemployed paralegal? Likes martial arts, carbonation, collarbones, dislikes static blackouts and elevators. Talents. I'm good at a lot of things. Skills. I'm not sure how skills differ from talents. I also like the 180 degrees rule. You coming? Right away, Adonnoir. $11:45, July 1st, 2086. Noble Employee Housing Building Plateau. Penthouse Dining Room. Pretty quiet elevators, huh? Dining room. You could have taken the next one. It's a busy building, Detective. Can't hold everyone else up on our account. Anything you'd like to grumble at me before I start? Don't touch anything. I don't care that you're wearing gloves. I have been to crime scenes before, you know. Long before the police get there in many cases. Look, Rockford asked me not to get in your way, but that doesn't mean I'm going to bend over for you. Do you at least have the autopsy report? No. Are you seriously? I don't. She doesn't? The report should have come in hours ago. It wouldn't take this long unless the cause of death was still... Then I'd settle for a summary of the preliminary findings. An emergency call was made shortly after 8 PM last night, via the home's security system. Emergency medical services had a VTOL in the air within the minute. It landed on the penthouse's helipad at 8:08. Dr. Asher was found unconscious with low blood pressure and a weak heartbeat. He wasn't breathing. He had a helipad! In-flight auto triage was administered artificial CPR while in transit to Gatesfield Memorial. He was declared dead a few minutes after being taken to the emergency wing. I see. And the cause of death is? Being investigated. Make an educated guess? He stopped breathing, so they gave him oxygen. His heart stopped pumping, so they had the machines take over. His brain activity dropped to 0. And there wasn't anything else they could do. It was poison, wasn't it? What kind? You don't know, do you? They don't know either. Like I said, ma'am, we don't have the autopsy report yet. Are you certain it was poison adenoir? Couldn't it have been an accidental overdose? If he had overdosed on a commercial drug, even a pre-med student would have spotted it on the hospital's intake screening. They would have been able to pump his stomach, neutralize his bloodstream, and he would have lived. But he didn't live. So it must have been something deadly. A compound designed solely to kill. A fast-acting, deadly poison that causes respiratory failure. The list can't be that long. Even just through process of elimination, the medical examiner should have identified it by now, unless... You suspect a designer drug, don't you, detective? She is ever so slightly worried about how much that Morgan is able to figure out without her cooperation. Why is it you're only quick on the uptake when it suits you? Nothing else makes sense given what we know and what we don't. But the CDCA decriminalized and catalogued all recreational drugs. A series of laws passed in 2060s that decriminalized all narcotics use and established the Bureau of Narcotics Oversight to administrate the production, licensing, distribution, and taxation of drugs across the country. Overwhelmed by civil unrest and eager to replenish government coffers, the CDCA intended to reduce the backlog of criminal cases across the country and provide much needed tax income while also incentivizing immigration with a promise of amnesty. In what was considered a domino effect, other major nations around the globe passed comparable laws to build up their own depleted war chests and revitalize their local economies. The so-called white wave of global amnesty overturned the international drug trafficking market in just a few short years. The grey wave followed soon after, as money-starved criminal organizations waged economic and literal war against multinational corporations for dominance of this new grey market. Fierce competition for government licenses to produce classic narcotics emerged alongside a race to develop new, more powerful designer drugs, and to monopolize on their sale in the months it would take for the government to identify and legalize them. While rates of addiction and overdose deaths have dropped since their peaks in the last 2 decades, the dangers associated with untested designer drugs and drug distributors' eagerness to earn new customers has continued to fuel debate of the legacy of the CDCA and the white wave as a whole. I do not like addictive substances. I was taught at a young age to respect your medication. And it actually does turn out that some of my medication could be used recreationally, but no, I respect my medication. You don't do that. It's a headache to get my hands on the doses that I do have. I'm not going to go selling it to other people. Guess you aren't entirely clueless about politics. So whatever Father overdosed on should have been in the hospital's database. You need to update your definitions. You're confusing designer drugs with recreational drugs. In the literal sense, designer merely denotes any drug that is custom made as opposed to mass produced, typically outside of normal pharmaceutical industry standards. In common parlance, however, designer drugs, DDs, deeds, deads, are illicit narcotics formulated to produce a recreational high. While the CDCA and the white wave that followed it legalized and taxed virtually all known narcotics, it did so alongside extensive documentation and study, and those laws could only apply to drugs that already existed. Any drug patented after the white wave must go through approval processes and registration with national and international authorities. A time-consuming process that can take anywhere from 6 months to several years. This time lag creates a window of opportunity wherein organized criminal groups can step in to meet the demands for a narcotic. What has been known as riding the wave is the new normal for international drug trade, pitting mob chemists against corporate laboratories in a race to develop newer, more powerful, more easily habit-forming drugs, and cornering the market on them before legislation catches up to them. Is Nerve illegal yet? Best New Deads 2086. Nirvana designed by who? What is the difference? Recreational drugs are decriminalized and sold through pharmacies after years of testing and mountains of paperwork. While the average designer drug was invented last week in a 19-year-old line cook's bathroom on the other side of the globe. Hospitals can't know the proper countermeasures for an overdose of a drug that didn't exist 48 hours ago. I came across makeshift labs all the time when I was a uniform. The equipment's cheap and widely available. Black market cooks, grey market peddlers, and white collar lobbyists all chasing each other's tails in a long line to find the next big hit. CDCA didn't change shit. More people die from ODs than ever before. Only difference is their families finding them in the living room and not beat cops finding them on street corners. Real comforting, I'm sure. If it wasn't you talking, I'd say that was a criticism of law enforcement. Not law enforcement, just a law. Assuming it was a designer drug, that would certainly make things more complicated. For the insurance guys, maybe. For us, whatever he used to do it, he still killed himself. Or didn't kill himself if you insist. I'm going to take a look around now. Yeah, sure, make yourself at home. What's that face for? I thought there would be an outline. An outline? Around where they found Father. Like in the movies. Like in film. Connect to the police's network and bring up their ARCS file. Augmented reality crime scene. I see. ARCS user portal authenticating, downloading, initializing. Augmented reality crime scene. Alright, let's cut it here. Tomorrow we can start investigating. If there's a tomorrow. I get the feeling that I'm gonna get overloaded on Limbus Company videos again. But yeah, until next time guys, take care, I'll see you all around.